Welcome, everyone, to the Wizard of Radical Self-Respect. My name's Jared Mello, and I'm the Shepherd of Black Sheep. Today, what we have going on is a late-night edition of the Wizard of Radical Self-Respect. To my right here, Shadow the Night Owl. We're truly living up to our Night Owl names today. I wasn't even sure I was going to go live tonight, but there's one video I want to go over because I got caught up with a lot of stuff on Facebook today because I made a post about the things we talked about with the lead attorney and how I think Austin Metcalf's dad's the getting Darvoed and gaslit, and I went over that. And of course, a lot of people not very happy about it. How are you there, D? Shadow and I say hello. So this video here that people are talking about, that first of all, I'm not sure if there is a video. That's one. Two, if there is one, I have no confirming evidence to say or suggest it says what some people think it does. But ultimately, what they're claiming is, well, there's evidence in this video that proves Karmelo would be innocent, but somehow, and for some reason, the judge blocked it. Now, if that were really the case, why would it be? Or is it something like there might be a video, but maybe it doesn't say what some people are thinking it says? I don't know, but I'll let you all decide too. Hello there, Danielle and Snoop. What is shaking? Shadow says, we're making you all be night owls tonight. But on the West Coast where Danielle is, it's only 9:40 p.m. Danielle, been a rough day, just woke up. Oh man, you're a night owl today too. I couldn't get to sleep last night, honestly. I don't know what was wrong with me, but I was up until 5 or 6 in the morning. I was on Jackie levels of vampire status yesterday. Holy mackerel. But in other words, it threw me off for the entire day. That wasn't very good. But I did some posts on other things on social media today. Still got to gather up my guests and my guest appearances too. Alexander and Colo, what is shaking? Remember to like the video on your way in here. Love tap that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Tell a friend or 20 about the flock of black sheep because we do have an awesome community, don't we? But we also want to make sure it stays an awesome community. Occasionally, I have to remove a couple people. There was someone in the last chat. They were throwing around some slurs. We can't have that in here. So I got rid of them. Also, someone tried to call Jackie names, and I wasn't going to have that either. That was out of control. Hello there, Ron. Welcome. Also, as always, super chats, super stickers, and becoming a channel member or gifting channel memberships. Great ways to support the channel. They help me pay for Shadow the Night Owl soy-free hoodie snacks. He's very hormone and testosterone conscious. Usually I go live between 10 and 10:30 p.m. Eastern to talk about true crime, current events, and psychology. 5 or 6 nights a week, usually. Christy, Elvis Christie, what is shaking? So let's see what this guy has to say for himself with this video here. Tomorrow during the day, I might come up with a video where I just give all of my thoughts on the case without going over any other videos. And I might do that during the day. We'll see. Nanny Goat? Shadow and I say hello, Nanny Goat. How are you? Ruby for justice. Shadow and I are for justice too, Ruby. So you're in good company. Mavs, what is shaking? Mavs and hubby, as always. Yes, Danielle, I thought so too. Hello there, Jackie. There she is. How are you today? Shadow wants to know how you are. Shadow says we're really pushing the night owl limit today. Just so everybody knows, I want a different phone. And I talk to text is probably worse than usual. LOL. So beware. Danielle's going to be like the pointing to the sign. Pardon me. I have Tourette's. That's funny, Danielle. Nanny Goat says, I'm fabulous. Thanks, Jared and Shadow. Well, of course, it is our pleasure. And to preface what this video we're going to go over is, there's someone that says there's a video out there that proves Karmelo's innocence. But one, no one's seen this video. People claim to have seen it, and they claim to say, oh, it proves his innocence. But yet, I haven't seen any proof of that. There may very well be a video. I don't know what it says. It might not say what people think it says. And so I don't know the full story of it. It's hard to say also, and this is the problem when there's only transcripts of court and there's no videos of court. You don't know. And I'm actually disappointed in the judge for that, because this is why you publicize it. This is why you let cameras in, so people can't wiggle through and start creating narratives that are untrue. But since there's no video evidence, people can start possibly making things up and creating narratives. I don't like that one bit. So I wish that the judge would have let cameras in, so this whole narrative wouldn't even have been a thing. But now, as it is, we'll have to wait for some transcripts. I don't know if all of the transcripts are out yet. I've heard some people say they are, but there's a lot to go over, and I might have to do that on my own time. I won't bore you with all of that. Snoop says, hope we get some good humorous phone slang from your talk to text, Danielle. We'll have to see. Shadow and I have our eyes peeled, Danielle, to see what it says. But let's jump into this video here. I'll let you guys, the flock of black sheep, we'll let you decide what you think of this, because I don't know what I think of it either.
Two American citizens has filled out the Freedom of Information Act, and they were able to see the surveillance video.
Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, by the way. So he's saying people filled out this act and they saw this video
Of Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf's incident. This is the video that was banned from the jury to see, stricken by the judge. And this man and this woman says proves Karmelo Anthony's claim of self-defense. Also,
first of all, I'm very skeptical of this. Very skeptical of this, because for one, it presumes there's a conspiracy. That's what this presumes. Oh, the judge saw a video and it shows Karmelo would be justified in self-defense, but he decided to not put it in because the system's corrupt. That's basically what they're saying here. Don't let them fool you with what they're saying. That is what they're saying. The system's corrupt and he didn't get a fair trial. That's what they're saying. Now, again, there are times when the system is corrupt. Absolutely. Shadow and I totally agree. There are times when that's the case. There are other times when there is racial injustice too. But Shadow and I just think this case is not the example of that. There are other cases that would show that, yes. But this one, no.
Was Karmelo Anthony's defense a hired attorney, or was he a public defender? A lot of people want to know what happened to that $600,000 GoFundMe. We have the answer to that question. A Texas attorney has filled an application out to see all exhibits denied and approved in the trial, and he is questioning why there was no expert witnesses called, why there were no jury consultants, and he has a ton of other questions for Karmelo Anthony's defense team. These are all questions that I've been asking for the past few days, and I'm glad somebody is going to help me find the answers. And while everybody is talking about Karmelo Anthony's chances in appeal court, we are going to discuss the 9 Republican judges that sit on the appellate court. There has been a ton of developments in the past 24 hours with the Karmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf case. Sit back, relax. I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. Then I'll hand it off to you, the Out Louders. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. What happened to the $600,000 GoFundMe? Where is the defense team? Where is this? Where is that? We finally have the answers. Carmelo Anthony's legal team was a hired defense attorney. He was not legal aid. He was not a public defender. Shout out to Nick at Night, a fellow YouTuber, somebody who I met at the Diddy trial, for getting us this answer.
We played her the other night, Neek at Night. Livin told me about Neek at Night. Livin the mod.
Sir, take a listen.
A rumor that a lot of people are spreading is that Mike Howard was a public defender. So people are trying to say, hey, the family raised all this money to get an attorney, but yet he ended up with a public defender.
I don't know about no public defender or whatever. I can't speak to that. All I can speak to it is that he was retained.
So that means that he was not pro bono.
No, he was retained. He was paid for.
Now, there were one or more videos not shown to the jury because the judge barred the videos from being played. We don't know why the judge barred these videos. We've been asking this question for the past couple of days, but finally, thanks to 2 American citizens that filled out the Freedom of Information Act and was able to see the video, at least now we know what is in the video.
So my fear with a lot of this is people, because of the races of the people involved, they have their conclusion first, and then they're trying to find a way to prove their conclusion right. That's what's going on with a lot of people, honestly. And you see this in other forums as well. It's not just this with race and true crime. There's other forums of this where it happens. The same thing happens. People have their conclusion, and then they try to find facts to support the conclusion that they want, as opposed to letting the case present itself and then examining the facts and the evidence and then making the best decisions slash, what would you call it? Best thought from there. That's what you should do. But clearly, that is not what a lot of people do.
I'm going to play these clips for you. Keep in mind 3 things that I got from this video. One, you're going to hear that this gentleman says, what you see in that video does not directly correspond with witness statements. I've been saying that for the past couple of days. This was under Austin Metcalf's school's tent. All the witnesses were all Austin Metcalf's friends. They were all his buddies.
Colo says, weird, he did not show the videos in court. Completely dumb. And I would say, yes, if there is a video, and 2, it says what they say it says. There might be a video, but what if it doesn't say what they're trying to say it does? Wouldn't even help them anyway. But the point is, until we actually see that video, it's all just speculation, and then these 2 people's words here. And is it accurate? I don't know. We just don't know. But that's the problem. We don't know. And a lot of people might have motivated reasoning, especially in this case. Shadow and I are not a fan of that. But we'll see. We'll see how things unfold here. Yeah, I would agree there, Ron. They shouldn't be able to do that. And again, that's even presuming that the judge did say no. We don't know the ins and outs of it. I'd like to see the parts in the transcript where this was even brought up. That's what I would want to see. Because I'm a little skeptical, like I said, it's going down the way they're saying it went down. No, I don't think so, Snoop, and that's part of the problem. We just want facts, not blame. Both of those kids effed up and found out, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, but here's the other thing. At worst, it should have been a fist fight, at worst. But instead, someone wound up dead. To me, that was unreasonable and disproportionate. That's why he was guilty. But again, I can't help but to say the race factor in this is really influencing how a lot of people see it. So normally they would think one thing, but because of the race factor, they're seeing it in a completely different way. And maybe those are the people coming up with their conclusion first and then trying to find evidence to support that conclusion. That's just how Shadow and I see it. And here's the thing. When you call it as you see it, you will certainly make a lot of people mad. That's just how it goes. And some people even, a guy defended Jeff Metcalf the other day, and some people are saying, I didn't defend him enough. They're like, no, you should have defended him more. Yes, Tim, I saw that. Knicks are the world champions. I wasn't very happy about that. I mean, the Spurs, they find a way to choke in every game. I mean, how many double-digit leads are they going to blow? It's out of control. So, I don't know. For some reason, I was rooting for the Knicks. I'm not a Knicks fan or a Spurs fan, but I was rooting for the Spurs. But they blew it. Not interested. Even if the video shows them using bad words or mobbing him, does that then excuse the actions taken? I don't think so. I mean, here's the thing. The only way that his actions would be excused is if multiple people are attacking him using fists, like kicking him, punching him, and then in desperation, he pulls out his knife and does that. That's really the only case where I can think, yeah, he'll get off on self-defense in a case like that. But unless something like that happened, he's not going to get off with it. It's just not going to happen. Because I don't think that is what happened. I think, according to all of the witnesses, including 4 black witnesses too, they told him to leave the tent. Austin told him to leave the tent. And again, you can say, oh, that's wrong of him, but okay. Then Karmelo says, touch me and see what happens. Austin shoves him. Then he's stabbed. And on a one-on-one thing like that, that's going to be disproportionate in almost every jury's eyes. That's just how it goes. Snoop says, according to ABC, video of the confrontation was not banned from the trial. In fact, surveillance video capturing the confrontation was the very first piece of evidence shown to the jury. See? So that's good for pointing that out, Snoop, because that's not how they're trying to say it, right? They're trying to spin the narrative here a little bit. They're trying to make it seem like the video said something or showed something that chances are it didn't show. Yes, Tim, I do agree with that. The Spurs did lose more than the Knicks won. I mean, the Knicks are a good team. They deserve their flowers, as they say. But at the same point, the Spurs just blew it.
You think they're going to testify against his homies? You don't do that. And even if you didn't like Austin, you still have to go back to the school. So this video it directly proves that some of the witness testimony was incorrect. You're also going to hear this gentleman say that there were 6 kids that approached, 6 kids that you see in the video, 2 leave off, and then there was 4 boys that approached Karmelo. Just remember, the defense his claim was self-defense. He felt like he feared for his life. That's why he took out the knife. If you are a boy, a 17-year-old boy, and you are 140 pounds and you're 5'7", 5'8", and there's 4 boys all over 6 feet tall, over 200 pounds, you might feel a little bit threatened as well. Again, keep in mind, the jury was not aware of this. And the last thing you'll hear him say is that Karmelo...
And he's saying the jury wasn't aware of it. Well, according to other reports, the jury was indeed aware of it. And it was the first video they were shown. So that leads me to believe what they say is in the videos like this, is not what was in that video. I think, again, they're trying to come up with some sort of conspiracy or some sort of injustice is what I think is going on.
Flew, meaning ran at an incredibly fast pace out of the video. And that is proof that you're fearing for your life. Listen to this.
Yeah, so again, my name is Tony Sturdivant. I was one of the individuals that put in a FOIA request to see the video. What I saw was starkly different from the testimony that I heard given in the trial. There were 6 kids that walked up. two splintered off. I guess that part of was introduced in the trial where they went to.
Here's the thing, though, Michelle. You can't tell me someone stabs you in the chest. And when you do that, there's going to be a pretty good possibility someone can die. I mean, it's not even like stabbing someone in a leg or something like that. But no, stabbing him in the chest through the sternum into the heart. I mean, you're going to have a hard time pulling out self-defense when you were only shoved. And that's what your response was. It's just going to be tough.
Deflect the coach. The other four walked directly to Karmelo Anthony. There was a brief conversation, I say maybe 20, 30 seconds. And from there, a scuffle ensued. It didn't last long. Karmelo backed out the canopy. He looked one way, looked to the left, and flew down those bleachers. Now, this is the video that was presented to us. This is the questions that I have, though. Why?
So here's the other thing before he goes on. We did hear that he fled the tent. And maybe he's scared/embarrassed about what just happened. Oh, I plunged this knife into Austin Metcalf's chest, and now I realize what I've done. And so now I'm scared. And so I flee. So is being bullied the only reason why you would run and flee? Or is it more like, oh crap, I know what I did, and now like I'm just scared, embarrassed, and don't know what to do? So again, there's more than one way to look at it.
I was in that video presented in court, and is it the true video? Because again, it's starkly different from the testimony given in the trial. Karmelo Anthony flew down those bleachers, fell at the bottom of the bleachers, got up, took off. It was maybe 2 or 3 kids that you can see kind of give chase, but Karmelo was gone, so they weren't even going to put a finger on him and touch him. But I don't know why that was not brought up in court. I don't know why that was shown. I don't know, but that's what I saw.
Okay, now let's listen.
So if Karmelo ran and he just stabbed someone, do you think people would like chase him and say like, get back here? Like we need to get the police involved or what? Like, I don't know. I mean, your friend is stabbed. What do you do? And the person who stabbed them runs. What do you do? And again, this is one of those things where you probably don't know what you would do until you're in that situation. You can say you know what you would do, but then when that actually happens, it can be a different story.
To the other witness that filled out the Freedom Information Act. And in her video, you'll hear her mention a few things. One, when you fill out the form and you get approved and you get to watch the video, they ask, hey, do you want to see 2 minutes before the incident or you want to see 11 minutes? Thank the Lord, she said, no, I want to see everything. I want to watch 11 minutes. And in that 11 minutes, she said that she sees Karmelo Anthony sitting in or around the tent for 8 to 10 minutes. Remember I told you guys yesterday, in yesterday's video, I'm going to pin it below, that he was invited to the tent. A lot of people are talking about, oh, this tent culture and you're not allowed to be under another school's tent. His school didn't have their own tent and it was raining. He was invited by somebody who he knows. He knew that person's family well. We told you about that yesterday. So it's not like he was there for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then it was like everybody was telling him to get out. He was underneath the tent and in the area for 8 to 10 minutes. Proof that he was chilling. Then you see her, the same thing like this other gentleman just said, 4 boys approaching Karmelo. Once again, I just want to reiterate, this is not information that the jury was privy to because of the judge. You're also going to hear her say that Karmelo tries to back out and then he gets pulled back in by his hoodie by one of these 4 boys. And then she says after the incident, when Karmelo Anthony runs, flees away, she says that there's 3 boys that chase after him. Again, information we were not privy to.
But again, if he already stabbed him, does it surprise you if someone's chasing after him and he just stabbed your friend and then he runs? But again, we're all just taking their word for it because we haven't seen this video.
Take a listen.
Karmelo Anthony, my name is T, and when I went to see the video, they asked if you want to see it from either 2 minutes before the stabbing or 11 minutes before. So I chose 11 minutes. From the moment she pressed play, Karmelo Anthony was already sitting up underneath that canopy, and he was sitting there for at least 8 to 9.5 minutes. You see, well, I saw a boy in a black hoodie go over to him first, and then they left out of the tent, and then you see coming across the field was another 6 boys. When they got to the bleachers, one, he went out of frame, and the other one sat at the bottom. But the remaining 4, they went directly to Karmelo Anthony. And like T said before, it was a brief conversation, and then all you see is commotion. And we know from the interviews that Hunter did, we know that Hunter was, in fact, up underneath that tent. The next thing you see, you can see Karmelo in the midst of them assaulting him. You can see Karmelo trying to back out, but he gets pulled back forward. The next thing you see is Karmelo. He comes shooting out the back, but he's still not standing. And he had to like kind of crab crawl backwards, and he had to like jerk away from them because they still had a hold of his hoodie. He goes up a couple bleachers and he's looking around for which way to go. He runs diagonally down the bleachers and then he falls. At the time of him falling, that's when I noticed another 3 boys coming down the bleachers chasing after him. But once Karmelo got up, he took off. You didn't see him for the rest of the video.
Now listen to her point out a lie, a clear and blatant lie. You're going to hear her say,
So, Queen, but how do you know they're hiding the truth? How do you know that every witness was not telling the truth? How do you know that? Like, there's no way you can possibly know that. They also said that the video was shown to the jury. Snoop looked it up.
at no time in this video do you see Hunter Metcalf, Austin's twin, holding his brother. There's been reports, and if I'm not mistaken, testimony that Austin passed away in Hunter's arms. She says that is a lie. Take a listen.
At no point in that video do you see
Shadow says, I hope this music isn't copyright somehow.
Hunter holding his brother. At no point in that video do you see those boys ever going back to the tent and sitting down. That was all a lie.
Now listen to her ask the exact same question that I've been asking.
How do you know?
Why was this video not played for the jury? Because she says this is irrefutable evidence that his claims of self-defense are true. This is what just an American citizen is saying. Now, times that by 12 jurors. You're telling me not one of the 12 would think, oh, this is a self-defense claim? But again, why wasn't the video played? Was it the defense? Because now we know from yesterday's video that I made for you guys, their parents now, Karmelo Anthony's parents, has fired the defense team. They feel like they can't trust anybody anymore. Did the defense try to submit this video?
And so tell me, what's the reasoning why the judge wouldn't allow this video if it exists? You need to have a legitimate answer to this. Because basically, if you say it's a real video and the judge didn't allow it, you're saying that the whole thing is corrupt. That's what you're saying. So Shadow and I are going to need evidence that's the case, honestly.
Did they try to submit it and then the judge blocked it? Why not? Why not give the jury every single piece of evidence? Listen to this.
I also have questions. I don't know how the defense did not play that video. Because when you see that video, it was self-defense. Karmelo was only 5'8", 130-something pounds.
How do we know she's not lying? How do we know she's not lying? I mean, serious question. How do you know?
And Austin and Hunter Metcalf were 6'1", 220-something pounds. So for people to say that he should have used his hands, people can from fights, from people using their hands. And that's all I'm going to say for right now.
Now just imagine that's just one or two videos. There's also a ton of other information that we are not privy to, the public and the jury was not privy to either.
Remember, I agree. The world is very corrupt. And absolutely, there has been racial injustice, especially in America. But that being said, it doesn't mean that this case is an example of it, right? Both of those things can be true. Shadow and I are still waiting for examples and evidence that the correct decision wasn't made. Because I see a shove to being stabbed. What it would take for Shadow and I to think differently, if it was shown that people are attacking Karmelo, several people attacking him, putting their hands on him, that's a more reasonable case. More reasonable, but still, it depends. It also depends, though, too.
Either things like Austin and his brother were known to be a little aggressive with people at school. If I'm not mistaken, they were both suspended. If not, it was Hunter that was suspended from school. That is why Hunter was not put on the stand. That's why the father wasn't put on the stand, because it would open up questioning from the defense to say, well, hey, what kind of boys were you? What kind of boy was Austin? Now, does that mean that Karmelo would have known that at that time? That could have been reason why the judge didn't allow that testimony, and why the prosecution didn't allow that testimony. But like I keep on saying, a great defense lawyer will find a way to bring that into court. And that would make it easier for the jury to understand how or why Karmelo felt like his life was being threatened and why he had to defend himself. Like I've said throughout this entire week, the defense was horrible. Happy to hear now that the parents agree with me, firing them and now going on to get a new defense team for the appeal. But hold on, I'm weary about the appeal. Before we get to the appeal, I want to play one.
So this guy's channel is called Trent Out Loud. There he is at the bottom. Can you see it? No, I'm unblocking it. Trent Out Loud.
More video from you from an attorney who used to be an attorney in the same district. He has made an application to get all trial exhibits, which is very, very important. I'll tell you why. During court proceedings, preliminary, you get to, as a defense attorney, you get to say, hey, I want these 100 pieces of evidence admitted. That's when the judge says, no, you can't submit this. No, I don't want the jury seeing this. And he has to give reason. But because this judge...
Bethany's been a member for a month. Shadow and I are very appreciative of that, Bethany. Thank you so much.
Banned cameras, media, and all motions and exhibits, we are not able to see any of that until after the trial. The judge said he doesn't want to sway or do anything. No, I told you guys already. It's not about swaying media. It's about he didn't want public attention, because when you have public attention, you get to have a trial. You end up having a trial like George Floyd, and there was so much international pressure that they had no choice but to find Derek Chauvin guilty. Judges now are privy to this, and they're like, if the judge is on the prosecution side, hey, let me try to keep this as local as possible. We don't want any international issues or problems, so that we could get what we want. And it looks like they did get what they want, because now Karmelo Anthony has been found guilty, gets sentenced 35 years, and now the international community is in an uproar. Okay. Listen to this attorney say that he is going to file to get exhibits. He also questions the defense, like I have been questioning. And his two big questions are things that I've been saying all week. Why was there no expert witnesses? And why was there no jury consultants? Why? We told you that I was covering the Diddy trial. That is where the bulk of your money has to go, because jury trials are won and lost from the jury. And we all know that there was 3 black teachers that were stricken from the jury because of the prosecution, which will be under for grounds of appeals. But the defense did a horrible job picking the jury. And I showed you guys yesterday, it's predominantly an all-white jury. Yes, there's some Asians there, or yes, there's some.
And as I said yesterday, when the black man said, I don't feel comfortable putting a black man in jail, that you have to know that's going to get you removed from the jury. If you want to make sure, if you think race is going to be a factor in the case and you're a black man, make sure you're on the jury. So and don't say something like that.
One person who mixed that could be Hispanic, but all 18 are predominantly white. And Karmelo Anthony is a 17-year-old black boy. You're supposed to be judged by a jury of your peers. They're all mostly white men and women or Asian in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. That's not a jury of your peers. Listen to this, and then we'll talk about the appeal.
I'm Christopher King. I actually was a licensed attorney in Collin County several years ago, working with the city of Frisco on a certain project. But I'm Christopher King. My handle is KingCast online. I'm also a journalist, and I have a couple things for you briefly. Today, I have filed my request for all exhibits used at trial. We'll see how that turns out. I had mailed it in before with a self-addressed stamped envelope, didn't get a response, so I figured I'd fly down here and file it in person this time. So as to this trial, what I see as an attorney, I saw what I believe to be malpractice. And I don't know why it happened, but I will tell you a couple of quick reference points. Number one, he allowed those students, young people, not professional people, to testify as to ultimate issues of fact, such as, was or not? Yes. Was there provocation? Karmelo provoked him. That's not how it works. You have to make them elocute as to what Karmelo did to allegedly provoke a situation. That's how it works. And when you don't object to it, and the case is in chief, you cannot come back later post hoc. And then,
I mean, here's the thing. In the Constitution or wherever the rules for a courtroom are, it says a jury of your peers. It doesn't say a jury of all of the same race of your peers, or not the same race of your peers, or a jury of women or a jury of men. It just says a jury of your peers. And that means regardless of race and gender. That's what that means.
ask the judge and complain about it in a jury charge. There were also no expert witnesses produced, no use of force expert, no jury. No jury professional consultant was there that I know of. Okay, so these are all very serious questions on this case, and I don't understand it, but I don't like it, and I think this is the proverbial travesty of justice that we have just witnessed here. And there needs to be an investigation. It's not right. It's just not right.
All right, let's get to talking about appeal.
I mean, they're all acting like it's not right, but like based on what? Based on what? There's this one video that no one has seen, except for a couple people that they're claiming is barred from court. I mean, I'm going to have to know for sure what's in that video, and then know for sure that video was indeed not allowed. That's what I'm going to have to see.
The reason why this appeal process is going to be probably even more important than the trial is because this will be Karmelo Anthony's last chance, or second to last chance, because after this appeal court, the last chance will go to the Supreme Court, and I really doubt it will get there. I mean, if there's enough public push, maybe. But I'm going to play you a video. These 9 judges are voted on by the people, and right now, as it stands, there's 9 Republicans. There's different stages of appeal. Listen to the breakdown and how important it will be to vote this November in this county when it comes to Karmelo Anthony. Take a listen.
Everybody's asking me about the Karmelo Anthony conviction on Tuesday, and let's talk about his appeal. His appeal goes first to the 5th Court of Appeals here in Dallas. That court must hear his initial appeal, and 3 judges from that court will read it and rule in writing. Now, if we don't vote for those judges, others will vote the GOP judges in, and those judges tend not to really care much about us, if at all, right? And those judges tend to come from Collin County, Hunt County, Kaufman County, and so on. But because we showed up in past elections, Democrats actually sit on that court as well. Thank God. And that's not luck. That's turnout. And 3 of those seats, though, are up on the ballot this November. 3 of those seats. We put those judges on that court from past elections, and our assignment, part of our assignment in November, is keeping those judges on that court. Here's why. If Karmelo loses at the 5th Circuit, Karmelo has to ask the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals to step in. 9 judges on that court, and all 9 of them are from one party, the GOP. And it's been that way for 30 years straight. 3 of those seats on the Court of Criminal Appeals are open this November. 3 Democrats are running. A defense attorney I know, a judge I know, and an appellate court lawyer. If we win those 3 seats, a third of that court changes overnight, just like that. The problem is, though, eligible Black Texans don't vote. Most of them don't vote. And that's how the GOP took and kept every seat on that court for the last 30 years. Not because they couldn't be beaten, but because nobody showed up to vote them out.
We answered a lot of questions today. The parents and Karmelo Anthony hired a defense team who was not a public defender. That's checked off the list. Did they spend all the $600,000 properly? Why didn't they spend money on an expert witness? Why didn't they spend money on a jury consultant? I don't have the answers to that.
And again, I'll say it again because I haven't mentioned it yet in this video, but they should have taken the lead attorney's advice from a year ago. Now, some people are saying, well, they don't have to grab the olive branch that Jeff Metcalf is extending to them. But I would say, if you want the best outcome for your son, I mean, why not do that? Seriously, why not? Instead, they called the police on him. They got him removed from the situation. And to me, it went downhill from there, to me.
Questions. I would love to interview the parents. They have done some interviews here and there. I haven't heard them been asked that question. At least we know not a public defender. Check. To me, the biggest developments are these 2 American citizens that saw that video, and they both of their comments align that this video shows proof of self-defense. Why didn't the judge admit it? Why didn't the defense team find a way to get this in front of the jury?
The chat is not the jury, and the chat is not the judge. Remember that.
We know that we will potentially be seeing more of the exhibits and know about more of the motions. It is going to be crazy when we find that out. I'm predicting.
And honestly, depending on the chat, I mean, if I went to an extremely left-wing channel, the biases of that chat would be one way. If I went to a conservative channel, the biases of that chat would be another way. So it's not necessarily a honest sample when you look at YouTube channels. Randomly, the way juries are selected, that's more of an honest and unbiased sample doing that. But when you go to YouTube creators, you're already narrowing it down to, oh, they like this person. So that's a big thing. It's like choosing a jury of saying, oh, I only want Democrats on the jury, or I only want Republicans on the jury, right? It's that you're not going to see that. Now, prosecutors, they would certainly have their preferences of who gets picked for the trial. This might be something I go over with Matt Murphy as well, author of The Book of Murder. He breaks down what it's like to be a prosecutor. And here's another thing people don't really know. The prosecutor works hand in hand with the victim's family. And what I mean by that is when the prosecutor suggests a sentence to the judge, they run that by the victim's family first. Because people were saying, oh, the victim impact statements were after Karmelo sentencing, because I had said the victim impact statements could make a difference at the end. But here's the thing. When the prosecutor talks to the family, if Jeff wanted leniency for Karmelo, he absolutely would have communicated that to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor would absolutely pass that along to the judge, and they would most certainly take it into consideration because it is the victim's family. So I absolutely believe if the Karmelo family would have joined hands with Jeff Metcalf, could have been a completely different story. And that does change it. I mean, Matt Murphy was saying that. Matt Murphy would talk about how in his murder cases, you talk to the victim's family and you're trying to get justice. And Matt Murphy said he would only even file charges if he knew that he was going to be able to get a prosecution. He knew that they were guilty because justice was very important to him. So another thing to take into consideration.
That we find even more evidence and proof to self-defense. And lastly, now we know that the cards are still stacked against Karmelo Anthony when it comes to his appeal process, the same way it was stacked against him with that all-white jury. Keep in mind.
Do you consider Hispanic and Asian people white, by the way? I mean, Hispanics are considered brown, aren't they? That's what they would consider themselves. Black and brown people, they would consider Hispanics brown. I mean, it is what it is. I don't necessarily call that white. And Asian, I wouldn't consider that white either. So the proper way to frame it is no African Americans on the jury. That is true. But to say all white, I don't necessarily agree with that framing either.
I have been saying every video that I've made, or almost every video that I've made, at maximum, I think, because there was a life lost, and I never want to forget about that. I have made videos talking about Austin Metcalf and his family, etc. At maximum, I think that Karmelo should have gotten manslaughter. We made a full video on that. Manslaughter is, hey, you get into a heated fight or argument or whatever, somebody got unalive. Unfortunately, he didn't mean to do it. That's manslaughter. So even if you don't believe the self-defense, I think it's fair to say at least manslaughter. And manslaughter has a sentencing of 2 years to 20 years. So regardless of where you are, I know this is a pulverizing case and a lot of people are on opposite sides and race has been brought into it. And now Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, yesterday had this racist rant, and now it's going to be even more divided. I still feel like...
And fun fact, by the way, when I posted about Jeff Metcalf on Facebook, he was in the comments on my post. And I was thinking, maybe I should invite Jeff Metcalf on the show here. Austin Metcalf's dad, of course. So he was there. Yours truly is this far away from all these people. So we shall see how things go. If you want me to talk to him and reach out to him, I will. Press 1 if you'd like to see me reach out to Jeff Metcalf.
Maximum, it should be manslaughter. But now, after hearing these two citizens that have seen this video, you have to consider self-defense. I told you guys I could make an easy claim for self-defense just based off the evidence. But now with this video, you gotta at least be more open to the self-defense claim if you're on the other side of the aisle. Let me know what you guys think about these latest developments. Let me know if this changes your mind. Let me know where you are in this Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf case. When you are commenting, please do not forget to like and subscribe. When you're subscribing, do not forget there is a bell beside that join button. Click that bell. You get a drop-down menu. Click all so you can be notified every time we upload a video or if we go live.
So it looks like everyone wants me to reach out to Jeff. So I will.
Live. Also, if you're watching this video on YouTube, please give this video a hype. It's absolutely free. It lets the algorithm know, hey, I really like this video. I want to hype it up to more people. Also, you've heard me refer to a video that I put out yesterday concerning Austin Metcalf's dad. If you missed it, I'll put it in the comment section below and I'll pin it. Also, because you like this video or because you watch this video, YouTube is going to suggest 2 other videos that they think that you might like based off of this. So you have the video in the comment section below, or there's 2 on my screen, and I will check you guys. I will see you.
So the other thing I was hearing, Colo, was people were saying, oh, he was just making a joke. Or what else were they saying? They were saying, oh, he was just trying to prove a point that that's the only thing people would focus on. And I would say, but there's still no reason to say that. Why say it? Why say it just to give your critics ammunition to try to discredit you? Because that's what they do. That's what they did, right? Oh, he said this, so now that means he's just a racist asshole, the end. And that's exactly what they did. So why even say it is what I would say. But I would also say I think he was a victim of reactive abuse, and I think he was frustrated. Because again, if you put yourself in his shoes, your son was killed. You're probably going to be pissed. And then on top of that, you're getting treated like your son was actually the instigator and bully, and Karmelo's the victim. And your people are posting all these things online, pissing on Austin Metcalf's grave, and basically gaslighting him, antagonizing him, using Darvo, deny, accuse, reverse victim and offender. And after a while, that bothers you. And you're getting provoked and you're baited. And then finally, once the gag order is lifted, he reacted, gave a bit of an emotional reaction. I don't agree with everything he said. Some people do agree with everything he said. I saw that in my comment section too. But I think he could have done without some of it. Because as I said yesterday, the way to win is to not play their game. He could have just kept on playing the high road. That would have been a better way to go. But instead, he gave them a little bit of ammunition to use against him. Shadow and I were not for that, by the way. And again, there are people that were mad at us for even mentioning that. And then, of course, people were mad at me for even framing it as he's a victim of reactive abuse. They said, no, he's the guilty one, not the victim of abuse. I'm like, well, we'll have to agree to disagree here. So what do you want to watch here? Do you want to watch Neek at Night's thoughts on the case or her interview with Dominique Alexander? Dominique Alexander is the man that the family hired. He's the person that had a criminal record. He's the person that kicked Jeff Metcalf out of the press conference. Which one, chat? Let me know. I hear you, Colo. And that's why I did call it out, because I said there was no reason for him to say it. Nope. And that's why I would also say, Ron, that I understand it. I don't think he should have said it, but I understand the emotion where it was coming from. So chat, press 1. Well, we should watch the interview. How about that? Was he railroaded? Let's see what they say.
All right. Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and we have a special guest by the name of Dominique Alexander. He has been representing for the Anthony family and been there since last year. I remember a video of you coming out of the court with him during the bond hearing that had got reduced.
So the thing I would say that not interested is in a narcissistic abusive situation, you're baited, you're provoked, and then finally the person gets under your skin and you give an emotional reaction. And then maybe you say some things you shouldn't say. Is that reactive abuse? Like, again, where is the proportionality of it all? Because that happens a lot where narcissists will do that. And then maybe they'll even record your reactions and show them to others, right? That happens too. So where's the line? And that's where I would say people have to be careful, because I bet you this has happened too, where there's been a female narcissist who baits and provokes, and then the guy is being abused, and then he finally reacts, and maybe he puts his hands on her. And then what do you know then? Then he's toast, because his reaction is disproportionate to the emotional abuse. Most courts are going to believe that. They're not going to say, oh, he was the victim of abuse, so it's okay that he put his hands on her. No, they're never going to say that. So even in cases when you've been abused, your reaction does have to be, you have to be careful. You have to be responsible for your own behavior. That is true as well.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became connected to the Anthony family?
So just to introduce myself, I'm Minister Dominique Alexander. I run an advocacy organization, one of the largest human and civil rights organizations here in North Texas, called the Next Generation Action Network. And we was founded in 2014. We've been a part of a number of high-profile cases in this organization. I founded this organization when I was 25 years old. As a person who is connected to the social justice community across Dallas, I remember last year when this situation happened. And just like anybody who is just living here in North Texas, we're looking at, our local media, and we're seeing all of these posts and stuff about this situation, right? Mind you, it's important to note that this day, most of us was all under a tornado warning, right? It was pretty much a bad weather day. But I remember these posts and I remember these comments. And then I also remember Megyn Kelly talking about it. And all of these white supremacists basically comments, and it was like, this thug, this nigger, this blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, what does that got to do with everything? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because normally a case of this in the regular sense, this is not a case that we would normally get.
And you're right. If it was only white people, he wouldn't even mention it. But the thing is, we all know that there's a big group of people that were acting like race was the biggest factor. And that's what he saw for an entire year. So again, it's what he's seeing. Like, that's what he saw the entire year. And there's a big group of people that, unless Karmelo got off completely, they were going to say there was an injustice. They just were.
Get involved in, right? You know what I mean? But because of the reaction of the situation and the violation of due process, we were like, no, something got to be done. So the next morning, I'm getting calls and inbox from everybody saying, Dominique, you got to help this baby. You got to do something. You got to get involved, or whatever it is. And I don't know them. And I'm like, okay, well, somebody got to get me connected to it.
Colo, you got to relax. They, when I say they, it's the big group of people that were supporting Karmelo at all costs. There's not just one person to point to, so it is they. People that, many of them were black, many of them were Democrats, many of them were progressives and leftists. But all of them, really, regardless of what the facts were going to say, they were going to take Karmelo's side. That's why I'm saying they. Jeff Metcalf is dead. Austin Metcalf's dead. Pissing on the victim's grave. Yeah, there was AI images of that, Sierra. I don't know if it happened in real life too. It might have, though. But either way, it's just a disrespectful thing to post, right? It's just not good. Even thugs would be ashamed. Probably not. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, I would think so. Colo says, "Yo, ML, you were clear. It's the chat." I'm okay. I wasn't sure who you were talking to, Colo. So I'm trying to be specific. But sometimes I do use pronouns. And also, Shadow says, his pronouns are king and your majesty. Those are Shadow's pronouns.
His family. At this point, if you're looking at the reactions of what's going on, and even credible news sources report,
Sir Owl, Night Owl, Knight Owl. That is also Shadow's pronouns. So Night, Knight Owl.
reporting of Karmelo Anthony, I'm thinking, I'm pulling up on an apartment, I'm pulling up on a Section A, whatever it may be. Not a two-parent household, not a beautiful family, not in a gated community and blah, blah, blah. I'm not pulling up to a 4.0 GPA student, none of this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not knowing this. And so I remember we got there and we met with the family and just trying to really just get involved with it. And I remember having one of our general counsels, Kim T. Cole, come there. And I had there was another person brought an attorney by the name of Billy Clark, and there's
Here's the other thing. I think there are some people that are so hell bent on being the aggrieved party and being more of the victim of an injustice that they're going to overlook doing the right thing. They'll overlook doing the right thing, which I think was taking the lead attorney's suggestion. To me, that would have been the right thing. If you truly wanted the best outcome, that's something you would have done. But instead, it seems like to me they were more interested in being aggrieved. They were more interested in playing that card. And this was not the case for that. I don't think. And again, I'm sure people will be upset that I said that. But I'm calling it like I see it. That's what it seems like is going on there. Why not do the thing that is going to be the most likely to have your son, Karmelo, get the best outcome? Why? Is there any answers to that? I'm all ears, if so.
whole purpose was to get to Karmelo and say, hey, sit back, shut up. You got support. We're here. Also show him the photo of his family, everything or whatever. And I also talked about, because we are an organization who is well known in North Texas, it's important to know that we brought the largest protest in Collin County history after the McKinney Pool Party incident in 2015, when the young African-American lady was slammed by Officer Caseboat, Eric Caseboat. I was 26 years old when that happened. I'm 37 now, so more than 10, 11 years ago. And so we reached out to the Frisco Police Department about all of the threats and the safety concerns of the Anthony family. And our job as an organization was to help support in any kind of way and advise and support this.
Shadow, the night owl, Knight, wants me to remind you all to like the video because likes are free. Love tap that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend or five about the flock of black sheep here. We have an awesome and amazing community that are very supportive and encouraging of one another. I like it. And I said, we go over all sorts of things here: true crime, current events, a lot of psychology, toxic relationships, etc. As always, super chats, super stickers, and becoming a channel member or gifting channel memberships, great ways to support the channel. They help me pay for Shadow the Night Owl soy-free hoodie snacks. And again, thank you very much for all of the support that I've been getting so far. And I absolutely appreciate it when we can talk about some of these emotional topics and people can remain chill as they do without like really going off their rocker, which different opinions are totally okay. And I think it's good to have these discussions because not often do they happen in a productive way. So Shadow and I are proud of the channel for being able to talk about some of this stuff in a productive way. That is impressive. And I like that people are able to do that here.
Family. And of course, our organization was there to support in making sure that security from from a realtor standpoint, everybody, anything they needed at that point, from moving, from everything or whatever. I also wanted to mention something about this too.
By the way, we got a super chat coming from the flock of black sheep and Michelle. Hoodie snacks for Sir Shadow the Night Owl. I love it, Michelle. Shadow says he's counting his hoodie snacks as we speak. Soy-free hoodie snacks, that is. So thank you very much for your support, Michelle. Shadow and I really appreciate it. Shadow's pronouns are Knight, Knight. Shadow the Night Owl. So thank you very much for that. We appreciate it. And also to note, each state has their own laws. Each state, when the founding fathers made the Constitution, the states were supposed to be like a laboratory where California is allowed to have rules that they want, just like Alabama is allowed to have rules that they want. So, depending on where you are, you might not like the rules of your state, but then you can go to another state, hopefully. But that's how it is. Every state has little different rules. That's why there's state law and then there's federal law. Two different things.
Because I saw some people talking about this in the last couple of days. In Nick, it's very hard to have cases like this because.
And so the way to have difficult conversations is, and this is hard, don't get me wrong, like especially when the topics get charged and emotional, it becomes the most difficult to do this. But there's two rules of thumb. Seek first to understand rather than be understood. That's one. And then another one is you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, more listening. And a third one is clarity over agreement. So understanding where someone comes from with clarity, being able to steel man their position. Okay, you might not agree, but you at least know where they're coming from. And again, those are things to strive for. I'm not acting like people are going to do those things perfectly. No, but they're things that Shadow and I strive for.
We live in a society where everybody is so clickbaitish, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next generation Action Network do not choose attorneys, right? We just.
All right, well, I'm gonna pause you. I don't want to jump ahead.
No,
I know there's
no,
so much that you want to say, but
No.
before we go any further, I want to so I just wanted to know like a little bit of background about you, your organization, and basically it sounds like you started to get in.
Paula, we are listening to the guys. This guy was the advisor to Karmelo Anthony's family. And on this channel, we're going to make you listen to everybody. In our opinion also, you can't make the best decisions until you've heard what everyone has to say. Like you get all the facts, you hear all the opinions, and then you take it into consideration, and then you come up with what you think is right. But when you only listen to one side, you're not getting the whole picture. Because one side can give you lies of omission, they can manipulate, they can outright lie. That happens all the time.
Involved with the Anthony family after you started seeing all of these death threats, all of these mischaracterizations and things like that. I want to fast forward to his press conference. This was very early on after the situation happened. It was Karmelo Anthony's mother, his father, and I believe you spoke as well. I'm going to play a little bit of it. I'm going to ask you questions about it, and then we're going to keep going, down. I'm going to try to move, swiftly down, but we're going to get to the lawyer thing because that's something that a lot of people are blaming you for some reason. So we're going to get to that, but let's start right here.
So here's the thing. That guy on the right, he does deserve some blame. And here's why. He is the guy that called the police on Austin Metcalf's dad when Jeffrey Metcalf, Austin's dad, was trying to extend the olive branch to the Karmelo Anthony's family, saying, "Can we pray together? I forgive your son." And this guy on the right is the guy that called the police and had him removed. That was a terrible blunder, in my opinion, for the best possible outcome for Karmelo. The lead attorney went over it. You can watch that video where we broke it down, but he made a lot of good suggestions there. But this guy, he wanted to find grievances. He found grievances. And then what do you know, right? That's the thing about finding grievances. You then also get the worst outcome too. So then your preconceived notions and biases become confirmed. Meanwhile, you ignored what possibly could have done, what could have gone better. If you listen to the lead attorney, I can almost guarantee you there's a better result for Karmelo Anthony. Instead, they didn't go that route. And this guy on the right, Dominique Alexander, he's a big reason for that, in my opinion.
It's my life's mission to ensure.
Oh, wait.
As a stay-at-home mom, I made it my life's mission to ensure our children are loved, nurtured, and supported every step of the way. In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in.
Now, what lies is she even referring to? That's something I'd be curious about. The caption here says, "Mother of teen charged in track meet stabbing speaks out." The organization Next Generation Action Network held a press briefing on Thursday to address the case, including threats the family said they have received. I wonder what those threats were.
Our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because.
All right, I'm gonna fast forward because I think you start talking.
He's been raised in a 2-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state, but those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear, we will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation that everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in the legal process.
All right, I'm gonna pause her right there. So that was the beginning of the press conference. And somewhere during the press conference, I believe the Metcalf father ended up coming to the press conference and he was turned away. Can you tell us about that?
Well, so this is the press conference. So mind you, this is after the bond hearing, right?
Okay.
And this is when Judge Tucker, the judge that was hearing the writ that was filed to.
Well, let's see if they mention this video in this interview too. I'm not sure if they will, but I'm curious.
Hold the bond hearing. This is before indictment of the actual case. And so, of course, we know she reduced Karmelo's bond down to $250,000, right? And so one of the reasons why this press conference was even held was because of the fact that when Judge Tucker was getting all this heat, there were people and right-wing people and false journalists that deliberately put out that Karmelo Anthony's family had bought a car and a house with their Give, Send, Go money. And many people ask me why we have a press conference, blah, blah, blah. Judge Tucker was about to literally put Karmelo's bond insufficient because it got so believable that it was on TMZ, it was being online to CNN, it was everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And we like, what? Wait a minute. And so, I said, okay, Kayla, you got to speak. And, it's really hard for me to hear Kayla because if you know Kayla in her personality.
Kayla is
Kayla is the mother. Karmelo Anthony's mother. And Kayla is a strong person. But a person with, just less words, don't do too much talking or whatever. And I know that took a lot out of her to really do that. But so we held this press conference because they deliberately lied, and we had to have the platform respond and say they did not even have access to the fund, right? Prior to the press conference. Now, mind you, this is the Anthony family was unaware that Austin Metcalf's dad was in the actual building, They were Andrew and Kayla was in a secured area. They never saw Jeff. They never saw him at all. And I remember getting one of the reporters to tell me that's the dad. I remember JD Miles with CBS.
Snoop, are you sure they said that? That doesn't make any sense for them to say that in this video because they're all supporting Karmelo's family. I'll go back and see it, but I don't think they said that. Why would they say that when they're supporting their family? That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, 11 told me exactly, and I was like, the dad of who? Because for me, I never saw him. I never met him in person, so I don't know him. You know what I'm saying? I could have. And so I remember we had to delay the press conference about 45 minutes just for the police to escort him out. We also saw, why couldn't he be there? This was a criminal case. He could not be there. You know what I mean? This family could not be around him, right? And so that's just basic thing. That wasn't about me. You know what I mean? It was about the simple fact. And this is not a public place. This is my private office. And you came to a thing that was reserved for press. So we had to take care of that situation, and that was pretty much the deal on that first press conference.
Okay, because there was a lot of people who, like you said, they were feeling some type of way that he was turned away. My thoughts were, I've seen, and maybe it's something that's mainly in the movies, but I've seen several movies where the father or the parent of a victim will come and they will act like they come in peace to get right up on the person that did it and harm them. So I felt in my mind that it probably wasn't the appropriate time, but people had problems.
So she's saying that, in the past, someone had said that to kind of sneak in and then attack or something. I mean, is it impossible that happens? No. Do I think that's what was happening in this situation with Jeff Metcalf? I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I would have to trust the energy with it. Like, if I saw the energy, would I think, this person's just trying to come up on here and then do me harm? I just don't think that's what it was at the time.
With it, I'm going to just show a quick piece and then we're going to move on to after that, then we come to them seeking out an attorney and so on and so forth like that. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me show this.
Defense. That brings us to the press conference. Jeff Metcalf was seen wearing sunglasses and talking on his phone at times while waiting for the family of
Yeah, basically, Ron, he did turn Jeff Metcalf away. And this woman, Neek, was basically supporting that decision by saying what she said. Oh, yeah, sometimes the killed person's, the victim's father comes in there, but they don't have good intentions. So again, is that really true? Did Jeff Metcalf not have good intentions? I don't think so at that point. I think honestly what happened is over time, I think Jeff Metcalf got frustrated at all of the swattings and BS he was experiencing. Now granted, Karmelo's family, they might have been harassed as well. That can also be true. But in this case, I just do think they should have listened to the lead attorney's advice.
Karmelo Anthony to speak. Dallas police showed up and Metcalf was asked to leave. Officers told him that he would be charged with trespassing if he did not leave. He told CBS News Texas he thought it would be an opportunity for the two families to come together in a productive way. Here's Karmelo's mother once the press conference resumed.
In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think.
Yeah, and I don't think Jeff's dad was going there to attack or with malice at all. I don't believe that at the time. At that time, a year ago, I do think he had good intentions at that time.
What happened?
All right, and hold on. I think there was something where the father spoke and he was saying that he wanted to come in peace and he was praying for the Anthony family, and he was like, all of these things. Well, it's a stark contrast. And if I can.
So, by the way, Shadow and I haven't mentioned this for a while, but a lot of social issues in the political world, they are explicitly used to divide. Shadow and I have always said people of similar income levels, whether they're black, brown, white, or Asian, have way more in common with one another than they have in common with the elites. Remember, so for example, maybe you're a black woman. You have more in common with a white person in your income level than you would have with Oprah, the billionaire. People don't like thinking of it that way, but I think it's true. Oprah is living a completely different existence than even me. I'm a Joe Schmo to Oprah. She doesn't care about me. The way she lives is just night and day different than me. But that's also true of Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon, the first trillionaire, by the way. They're just on a different level. They don't live the way we live. But a lot of these social issues, they use it to divide us amongst each other so that we can be voting in certain ways. I think that's a big part of it. There's other divisions too, of course. Sometimes the divisions can be religious divisions, and there's other versions of division as well.
Find it. I'll put it up, but I thought it was in that clip. But it was interesting that in that press conference where people were saying that he comes in peace and love, it seems like his position now is hateful.
It was the same way let me make
Danielle, it's like Drake said, money come and money go. Ain't like you can take it with you. And I would say I agree.
this very clear, because even after this, he lied on social media saying that when he was told to leave the first time, he left. In which that was very, very, very false, because there were plainclothes Dallas police intelligence officers that were there.
So this guy now is accusing Jeff of lying because he said on social media, Jeff said that he was only asked to leave once. So let's see what Dominique has to say here about it.
That gave him the first warning to leave. And then they brought in uniform officers, right? And in this situation, this is not based on whether Dominique Alexander deems this appropriate. This is advice from an attorneys and all of these different types of things. Can this happen? He's here, you know what I mean? And like, no, they can't be around each other. You get what I'm saying? Like, you got to, okay, this is not me saying bringing my security, which we had security there. I could have literally had my security team escort him out, but to be respectful, I had Dallas Police Department escort him out. You know what I mean? I'm pushing my team back, and I'm telling them, hey, don't say none of this, man. Let them handle it, whatever it may be, because I don't want nobody, and I don't want none of my team saying, or somebody saying they put their hands on them or this.
But well, I mean, again, why does he even need to be kicked out to begin with? Like, you really think it was going to go that much sideways? I don't know. I'd have to see it.
And the third, watch them, but don't say nothing else to them. You get what I'm saying? Let the police department. I never personally said anything to him or whatever, because like I said, Nick, I didn't even know who he was. You get what I'm saying? I one of the things I'm trying to get people to understand, and so it's like, oh, he came to pray. Why can't he be there? Why can't he this or whatever? And it's like, how am I supposed to find out that he come and pray when he ain't said nothing to us? He ain't came to the organization that is holding the press conference and saying that.
I mean, so it sounds like they just kicked him out first and didn't ask any questions. They said, no, just go. But like, if you wanted to, like, if he would have said that, and I think he did you just ignore it? So Neek says, this moment is a reminder that a community united can never be divided. Karmelo safe at home. The journey ahead is long, but today we celebrate a victory for justice, for family, and for the power of people coming together to protect our youth. Thank you to everyone who stood with us. The fight continues, but tonight, Karmelo is home. But again, but why is that justice in this case when he's the one that killed someone? I don't know if I don't like this entire framing.
He's not coming in introducing himself. That man came right in there and stood right there on the side of that podium and said nothing. So how was I supposed to know he came to pray or whatever this is or whatever? Like, he didn't come as a person like what he tried to say on social media. But of course, like you said, Neek, that whole
But again, so how do they know? How do you know he didn't come to pray if you didn't even ask him? You just kicked him out first. That doesn't make much sense to me. It seems like they had the preconceived notion that he was going to be hostile and they acted accordingly. It's like they weren't expecting him to be extending an olive branch. But again, if someone's willing to give you an olive branch, you have to first listen. And I'm sure it's like he comes over there. I probably want to be emphasizing, hey, I come in peace. I come in peace. I want to bridge this divide.
whole tone changed very quickly.
Right. And I see a lot of you guys coming into the chat and you keep saying, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? So Dominic Alexander is a person who has been an activist, and he has his organization for activism and getting justice and things like that. I'm sorry if I butchered it, but you can clarify afterwards. This is him this is you guys after the bond hearing. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
so this is Dominique Alexander after the bond hearing with Karmelo Anthony when
This was after he was released.
Okay.
This is when we took him home.
I mean, unfortunately, Shadow and I think like they're clearly just kind of playing the team sport. Like they're on Team Black and they're going to support Team Black no matter what. I can't until I can see otherwise. That's just what it seems like. That's what they're doing. And I don't like that though, because I can get the desire to do so. Because yes, Black people do have a unique experience that a lot of other people won't be able to understand until you've walked in their shoes. That's true. I always recommend people check out Obama's book, Letters from My Father. It's a good book. It's a good book that gets you to kind of understand more of where they're coming from. But at the same point, there comes a point when playing the identity card doesn't go well. There's a time when people should be treated, as Martin Luther King Jr. said, by the content of your character. But even now, there's pushback against that. Oh, no. You should be seen as your race, as your gender. It's like, but really? I mean, there's assholes of all races and all genders and all religions and fill in the blank. I think that's true. Asshole doesn't have a gender or race, etc. There's people like that on all ends of the spectrum. So the divisions, I just don't think they help. But they're very tempting because a lot of people, they become tribal. And again, this aspect of it is just one version. There's many other versions of people becoming tribal.
And then this right here, you are with Karmelo Anthony's mother and father and some
yes.
other family.
That's a part of my team right there. Those two guys.
Okay.
But you see, Michelle, you can't accuse me of that because during the Minnesota riots, I stood up for the people that the ICE officers were harming because I thought they went too far. I also think things like no-knock warrants that killed that woman, I think that's terrible too. Like, I do try to play it just how I see it. In this case, like I've always said, A knife to the chest, through the sternum, into the heart is just disproportionate and unreasonable. It's an unreasonable response to being shoved. That's the bottom line. That's what I've thought. And that's ultimately what the prosecutor convinced the jury was true, that it was disproportionate. And with all the evidence out there, the defense didn't provide any evidence that disproved that. And again, they're talking about this video, but I haven't seen this video. I don't know what went on with it in court. I don't know what's in it. I don't know if a judge didn't allow it or they showed it, but it doesn't say what they said it said. I don't know. But that's what happened in the case so far.
And oops, what happened? All right. And then right here is the you speaking to Karmelo.
That was Karmelo first time meeting.
All right. Come on, man. Just follow back behind us. Just stay close, okay?
Karmelo, do you have anything that you'd like to say, Karmelo? Do you have anything that you'd like to say to the victim, to the family of the victim? Why were you armed, sweetheart? Karmelo, why were you armed at school? Explain your self-defense. How is this self-defense?
Excuse me.
And I'm on his defense lawyer. I say, dude, why the hell is he gonna answer your questions? Of course he should not.
Excuse me.
Well, is there anything you want to say to the community that's donated?
Got all these media vultures.
All right, so that's you guys, and just wanted to show people a little bit of you guys' connection. Now, fast forward, he needs an attorney, right? He gets a bond, he gets out on release, or tell us how that went leading up to where Mike Howard comes in, because there's a lot of confusion about Mike Howard and things like that, and they think that you brought him to the family or anything. Can you clarify? Can you speak to that?
It's one of the things that Nick, I literally found out this was going on real quick. The bond hearing was set for a Tuesday. Mike Howard was hired before the bond hearing. Okay. Mike Howard was hired 4 or 5 days after the incident. Mike Howard was hired on a Sunday. The family literally interviewed probably several attorneys. Okay. Andrew met with multiple different attorneys. Out of the 9 attorneys that they met with in our office, 7 of them were Black. And I told somebody earlier today, I said, what I'm not gonna do is sit here and explain myself and act like it was a whole bunch of Black attorneys in April of 2025 ready to go to Collin County. If anybody's telling you that, they're lying, and the truth ain't in them.
You said half of them were Black when they interviewed, or
half of them, more than half of them were Black that they met with, they met with, right? As an organization, we can't choose an attorney. We can't even be in the room because of attorney-client privilege. There's no credible attorney that is going to even want me in the room or anybody from our organization in the room at that time, let alone this is a sole choice. You know, we've been around for 12 years, and like, this is not my first rodeo. We have cases of Crystal Mason that was sentenced to 5 years for illegal voting in the state of Texas. Like, you know, we do not get in the practice of choosing attorneys for families. Mike Howard was sent by a recommendation by many different people, links and everything. Whoever was literally available to be able that wanted to consider this case. Now, mind you, as people are looking at this, they have to remember this is not Dallas County. This is Collin County. So one, you have to have somebody even willing that want to actually practice in Collin County. This is a county that has a real history of racism and bigotry, and we saw that displayed. And so all of a sudden, when this situation go down, it's like I'm seeing all these social media posts from different people talking about I would have did this, I would have did that, and I'm like, well, my phone number and my email is on every one of my social media accounts. So if you had interest in being part of the Karmelo Anthony case, you could have emailed and made that concern known.
So do you know who gave them the recommendation to hire a white attorney?
It wasn't a recommendation. There were multiple different people, even including people in their family, about this white county, about hiring a white attorney or a black attorney. But it wasn't just about solely hiring a white attorney. Let me make this very clear. Mike Howard was hired. Toby Shook was added by Mike Howard as his second chair.
I think they could have hired the lead attorney, and even though he's a black man, I still think he would have done a very good job for Karmelo in this case. Also, by the way, the lead attorney also has cancer, I learned. He wrote a community post about it. So, Shadow and I send good vibes out to the lead attorney. We were sorry to hear that.
The family didn't choose Toby Shook, right? Okay. So it wasn't no all white lawyer team or whatever it is. They didn't hire that. You know what I mean? And even to be transparent, I even had them in requesting and saying, hey, y'all need to add a black attorney on multiple different things. I can't sit here and go right now and talk about all of the things that we talked about, but some of the sentiments that people have, I share with them personally, right?
So basically what I'm gathering is people felt that because, and this is just kind of what I'm gathering, people felt that because the town and the infrastructure of the courthouse is racist, it might be better to get a white attorney to get better outcome. Is that what the thinking was?
That was some of the thinking, but the reality is
so why was the presumption that they were going to be racist? Like, where is that presumption coming from? Like, are there like specific instances that happened in that area that are making them think that? I don't know. But again, in this day and age, it's an interesting thing to presume.
Is that the reality that there were so many different black attorneys rushing for this case, that's just not true. It's not true whatsoever, right? And one of the black attorneys that we met wanted to charge this family $500,000.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute now. I know we ain't gonna sit here and act like that it was just a bunch of black attorneys that were for an option, and then black attorneys that were familiar with Collin County, and so, with that being said, I believe Andrew did what they could do in this situation, but nothing indicated.
And when you say Andrew, because everybody doesn't know Karmelo Anthony's parents' name.
Okay, correct. Andrew is.
Yes, and not interested. I agree. Regardless of the color of the defense attorney, it was. I was talking to Livin about this the other day. That the the defense had an uphill battle here. Like looking at the facts of the case as I saw them and looking at what everyone had to say, it's just a tough case for the defense. A shove versus being stabbed in the freaking chest. That's a tough case because it's just too disproportionate and it seems unreasonable. Again, at most, it should have been a fist fight. But I was saying, yeah, that's going to be a tough case for any defense. And they would need to have evidence like a group of people attacking Karmelo to the extent that he thought he was afraid for his life. But what constitutes a reasonable fear for your life? Is a shove? Does that constitute a reasonable fear for your life? It just doesn't. It just doesn't. A reasonable person is not going to think a shove is going to make you in fear for your life. Now, if a group of people are attacking you and maybe in a dark alley somewhere, then okay, that can be a little bit different. But on school grounds here, at I think a track event, are you truly afraid for your life at a track event on school grounds? I'm having a hard time seeing it.
The father,
Yes.
Andrew and Kayla, which is the mother, did the best that they could with the options that were available to them. But I want people to understand this was not a process that, because I see people getting in their head, and I heard somebody was online talking about, oh, they did the bond hearing and then they hired the attorney. No, this family had 24 hours to hire an attorney. It was Friday when I met them. The bond hearing was on Tuesday.
And by the way, yours truly, Shadow, was shocked to see this, but we were accused of gaslighting because we had said Jeff Metcalf was the victim of reactive abuse. They say, you are gaslighting. I was like, what? I mean, I feel like you're gaslighting us by even saying that, considering what he went through the past year and his son is dead. But what do we see here from Sweet Caroline? Thank you so much, Sweet Caroline and the Flock of Black Sheep. Best true crime channel. Thanks, Jared and Shadow. And Sweet Caroline, I was telling the chat before you got here, Shadow's pronouns are night owl, Knight. Or he sometimes toys around with King or Your Majesty when he's being a chuckle hutter. But as always, we appreciate the support. So thank you very much, Sweet Caroline.
They didn't have a lot of, you know what I mean? Even I heard somebody said Dominique Alexander got them to fire a black attorney to hire a white attorney. And Nick, they had the audacity to quote and say that I fired my general counsel. Kim T. Cole is the general counsel of the Next Generation Action Network. She's a civil attorney.
Okay.
It's not even what the hell are we talking about here? You know what I mean? She's a civil attorney.
Well, the reactive abuse part is being baited and provoked and provoked and provoked and provoked and gaslit and being used Darvo. And then finally, you lose your cool and you have an emotional response. And again, sometimes that emotional response, you go too far. Absolutely. But anyone who has been the victim of narcissistic abuse, they've seen that happen, where the narcissist baits them, provokes them, gaslights them, uses Darvo, and then finally the victim reacts, and the narcissist is quick to pull out their camera, record your reaction, show everyone they know, and say, see, look at how crazy they are. Look what I have to deal with. And it's similar in this case where, granted, and I called it out too. I don't think Jeff should have said those things. I think he just gave his critics ammunition. I totally get it. But at the same point, losing your son, plus all that for the last year, if you truly put yourself in the shoes with that, that does have to suck. and you'd probably be pissed, going through all sorts of emotions. I also think that's true too.
Kim T. Cole is the attorney on Crystal Mason's civil case.
What do we have here? Hark the herald angels sing. Glory to the flock of black sheep in Sweet Caroline. Love that, Sir Shadow. Yes, Sir Knight. That's also what it should be, Sir Shadow. I love that, Sweet Caroline. Shadow likes that too, actually. Sir Shadow. I have a feeling Danielle likes it too. Hello there, Jen. How are you? Thank you again, Sweet Caroline and Flock of Black Sheep. We have a very late night edition tonight of the Black Sheep Nation show. Glad you're all up here for it. Or what time is it where you are, Sweet Caroline? Is it 14 hours in front of me?
Kim Cole is the civil attorney for Desiree Becton, the young lady that was slammed by Officer Eric Caseboat in McKinney, Texas. Pool party incident. She is not a criminal attorney. Billy Clark is not a criminal attorney. Those were placeholder attorneys in order to, when you have a situation, you're going to get anybody with a bar card to be able to get to this person and say, sit back and shut up. They were never supposed to be permanent attorneys.
And partially that can be true, Michelle, but remember, two things can be true at once. He was also the victim of abuse, too. He was the victim of abuse, and he said things he shouldn't have said. Both of those things can be true. Now, some people want to make it seem like because he said things he shouldn't have said, that means he's discredited and he's just the villain, period. I don't know if I buy that, because even so, his son's still dead. His son's still dead, and that doesn't take away all the abuse and gaslighting for the past year.
That's not even, I don't, it's kind of like stupidity, because it's like, am I supposed to respond to this stupidity? And if you gonna say this woman's name, at least you can go on that Texas bar site and say, and look at that little section where she practice areas, and it will say business, civil. If you gonna at least try to attack me, please get your facts together. But
you're getting most of the blame for the attorney. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
that's what I've been hearing. That
no. It's like people saying that I.
So, Sweet Caroline, you are 14 hours in front of me, and Nanny Goat is 13 hours in front of me. Or is it even less than that? Oh, it's a half hour different too. Yeah, so she's 13 and a half in front of me. Sweet Caroline is 14 in front of me. How about that? It's Sunday on their neck of the wood. How about that? Work on a Sunday, Sweet Caroline? You're like us.
Chose the all-white attorneys. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute, huh? First of all, Toby Shook wasn't chosen. Two,
I mean, Toby Shook was the better attorney, to be
and that's
honest.
That's what people said. But you remember, Nick, if you can just tell your viewers, what was I? Was I outside the court or in the courtroom? I didn't ever go in there. I didn't ever go in there, right? Okay, so like at the end of the day, like I can only take what y'all have said. Most people, everybody, even some of the people that I talk with that messaged me on TikTok were saying the same thing you said, that Toby Shook was probably the best one out of both of them, right? I don't know. All I can do is, as an organization, we can only prepare for attorneys to meet a family, and we walk out, and when that family went home.
So let's use another hypothetical then. So like, if a black person calls a white person like a cracker or some other kind of derogatory term, does that mean they are also just completely a bigot? Or is there room for, sometimes people mess up? Or is it, no, You mess up once, it's an indictment on your entire character. What do you think?
They called me a couple of hours later, and
Or another better example might be if a black person is like discriminatory against an Asian person and uses slang against them. What is that? Is that person entirely a bigot? Or is sometimes people make mistakes? Which one is it?
they told me that they are going to choose Mike Howard.
Okay.
Either whatever part or whatever somebody want to create or whatever, and I just don't even understand the level of stupidity. How could I fire my own general counsel?
All right. So being that he has been put in this position where it didn't feel like a fair trial to me or anybody else that was in the room. Was there, or do you know, I'm not sure if you know or not, but like, were there any experts that were available to testify to talk about like bully culture or like anything like that? Or was there just no like experts, or do you know? I don't know if you know.
Yes, there were experts. There were resources that we donated for experts. Money that we, donated for experts to testify. There were
And
people
so,
on the witness. There were 17. There were 17 people on the witness list that I knew. At least 7 of them that let me correct this. 7 of them that I knew that weren't even called. I, you know, like I'm trying to tell people all this time, this is not the case that I was aware. But mind you, as an advocacy person, we are not in the meetings with the attorneys to prepare the case. That's not something that I'm privy to. I'm not protected by attorney-client privilege. So you know what I mean? Like I know based off of documents that I saw in witnesses list, you know what I mean? But as for, hey, we're gonna do this day, we're gonna bring this person, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that. That's nothing that I have access to because I'm not bound by I'm not protected by attorney-client privilege.
okay. All right. So going forward, now that Karmelo Anthony has been convicted and the family.
So this guy on the right here, he's not an attorney. He is an activist. Activist Dominique Alexander. So he was a minister. They called him like a minister of justice or something like that. But he is not an attorney.
He had a Gifts and Go that was shut down. He's gonna need a new appeals attorney. How can people get behind the Anthony family and support them?
Well, so based on the rules of Give, Send, Go, and what I told the Anthony family today, the fund has to be created as a legal and it has to directly be administered by an attorney. That's based on their rules of their platform, right? In which the Anthony family was like, okay, that's cool, whatever it may be. And now they have the process of being able to look for an appellate attorney. We know that they had 3 conversations with different appellate attorneys. There's not just one sole person they had conversations with today. And that's pretty much it. But they're going through this process so that they can make the decision on who they want to hire as the appellate attorney.
All right. Another question that a lot of people, or a rumor that a lot of people are spreading, is that Mike Howard was a public defender. So people are trying to say, hey, the family raised all this money to get an attorney, but yet he ended up with a public defender. Can you explain Mike Howard's background and if he's a public defender or anything about that?
Mike Howard is, I don't know anything about being a public defender. I don't know anything about that. I do know that Mike Howard practices in Dallas and Collin, and has practiced in Tarrant County. I don't know about no public defender or whatever. I can't speak to that. I've that he all I can speak to it is that he was retained.
So that means that he was not pro bono.
No, he was retained. He was paid for.
Okay. So, because I wanted to clear that up because a lot of people were spreading that. You know how social media is. They don't like verify or fact check. Like one person says it and then it spreads like wildfire. So I wanted to ask you specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is there anything that you wanted to clear up?
Yes, Jackie. This guy on the right, that is what he was charged with. Lead attorney mentioned it. So lead attorney in that video we went over a few days ago, he was mentioning it. And that's this guy on the right.
Or speak about or say?
Well, Nick, thank you for having me. I spoke about all of the things that, I kind of wanted to say or share or whatever it may be. Like I tell people all the time, I can only be who I am as the president of the Next Generation Action Network. If someone doesn't agree with my post, but I have a problem with somebody trying to sit here and say anything about me when all I'm going to ask, did you know Karmelo Anthony's name in April of 2025? And what did you do? What did you support? I know we were out here risking our lives. I know that our organization did everything, dealt with the death threats, dealt with everything that we possibly could to keep this family safe and protected, right? To ensure, when you see me escort Karmelo Anthony out there against security advice or whatever it may be, it's because Karmelo is all of our babies. Nick, I had to leave yesterday because, I always told somebody, Karmelo is like a nephew to me. I know Karmelo. Most people know him as a hashtag and a name. I know that baby. I sat at dinner tables with him. I prayed with him. You know what I mean? It's not a show for me. It's not a clickbait. Kayla and Andrew is like a brother and sister to me. We're locked in forever. It's not a client. That's my family. Everybody can, this precious boy, I know that heart. I sat down, broke bread in video games or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
I know
How can we speak to grandma? Grandma was strutting it in there. I don't know if the Anthony parents are up to speaking to us. How can we speak to, I know they did an interview earlier, but how can we speak to grandma?
Grandma, man, I'm gonna have to ask Kayla.
And again, I think what's happening is they're just seeing themselves, like he's seeing himself in Karmelo. All right, he's a young black man, so he's going to be our baby. And unfortunately, that's just not how justice is supposed to work. Like if we're a white person and we see another white person, are we going to say, oh, that's our baby, that white person? Now, granted, of course, it's different when you're a smaller group. So there's an element of that going on for sure. But even so, like you see a white person do something, a crime's a crime, regardless of the color of their skin. I mean, there's all sorts of people that people would love to take down white people. Because if they're guilty, they're guilty. Like that's what matters.
Because I'm gonna have to see. I ain't never had a request.
And how can we speak to Kayla as well?
I ain't never. And let me say this quick. Kayla is talking. And today I told them. I said it was important for them to speak. That's why many people y'all don't have to have me speak anymore. Like that's y'all speak. And in the world to know the pain, to understand and be able to talk about.
And I have to say this too, honestly. The way some people talk about this case is pretty crazy making to me. Just hearing the mental gymnastics and other things that people are saying to try to paint Karmelo in the most positive light, it is crazy making because to me, the facts just don't support that. And again, and until I see a video that proves me wrong in that regard, I'm going to still think what I think about it until I see something that shows, nope, this is what happened. He received an unfair trial. Then okay. If there's video that shows things so clearly as some people say, then sure, give him a new trial if that video exists. But let's first make sure that video exists. So, but overall, I see it as just like people have different versions of reality. And depending on what side they are on in an issue, that version of reality can be completely different
about the situation. And so, but I can say, I'm gonna make sure that they can get on your platform to speak with you and then kind of go from there. But right now they are preparing for this appeals process. This is a long uphill battle. Like, I told somebody earlier today, listen, I'm not the oppressor. Focusing on me trying to do this, saying who did this, who did that all of that doesn't even matter. Mm-hmm. What matter is that a baby was railroaded in a courtroom. It was lack of transparency in so many different things.
Based on what? Lack of transparency? That's why he was railroaded, lack of transparency? Or was it just the evidence didn't support what you wanted it to say? I mean, like Auntie said, if that video was so great for the defense, I think that defense attorney would do everything in his power, even if he's not a great attorney, to get that thing into evidence and let it be seen, let the jury see it. That's what I would think.
And we have to move forward. I'm not an attorney. I can't argue a case. I can't present an evidence. I can't do anything but continue to do whatever I can to ensure that that this family is supported.
And Michelle, you are correct. That did happen, but there's a couple big differences in that case. One, the perpetrator took full accountability and showed remorse, and that played a big part in the actual verdict and sentencing. So that does matter. How people handle it, or are they blaming or playing the victim? Like, no. Accountability, humility, honesty, and remorse go a very far way in the eyes of the law, honestly. And if you don't do those things, the eyes of the law do not like it. And the lead attorney mentioned that too. There's this one guy that killed 6 people in a car accident because he was drunk or something like that. They gave him 1,000 years because what happened was he made everyone in the town hate him, including the judge. So they threw the book at him. Those things matter. Like, it matters. Attitude matters.
And they have to make that decision now, just like they are making that decision of an appeals attorney. And what they're going to do with that appeals attorney is make that decision, and they're going to call the Next Generation Action Network. And what we're going to do, just like everybody heard me say, we going to write the first $10,000 check to it.
All right. So I think that's amazing. And I'm glad that they have someone that can, help along the way. What I want to know is the video, right? Taking it back to the case, there's so many conflicting stories about this video. Now, what we saw inside the courtroom was a grainy, hard to see video, but there was a lot of people outside the courtroom.
So here they are. They're finally talking about the video here. Let's see what they have to say about it.
Room, who said that they went to ISD and watched the footage and said that it was clear, and they said that they saw more than what we were shown. Can you speak on that?
Well, so Nick, you know I wasn't in there, right? But I can tell you I did see the video at Frisco ISD. And the video that at Frisco ISD, it's not like you can sit there and look at the pimple on someone's face, but you can identify what's there, right? In front of you. And so what has been described to me, you know, is like, no, you could at least kind of know and count how many people right there.
So did you see the video or not? You just said you did, but then you said described to you. So which one is it?
Well, we can count how many bodies, but we can't see like faces. You know what I mean? Like we could see like, okay, somebody's sitting right there, somebody's sitting right there, but we couldn't see like Karmelo in Austin's face, or you know what I mean? It just was like kids there.
Mm-hmm.
Some people were saying that they were able to see him getting jumped. I couldn't see that. So I was wondering if you guys saw something different.
No, it's not, I didn't see that with that video. No. I didn't see him getting jumped. Oh, you know what I mean? Like I saw movement over there. I saw that there was.
So you saw movement, but he didn't see him getting jumped. So remember this, it's about, you know that game you used to play in kindergarten, Whisper Down the Lane? And then by the time it goes through 20 people, the story is completely different. I wonder if that's a little bit of what's going on here. Because even he said there's no one getting jumped in that video. So let's see what else he says.
There's multiple people around him, but I didn't see he was getting, you know what I mean, like the altercation. No.
Oh, okay.
So he's saying he didn't see the altercation, which is probably a little bit disappointing for Neek here.
If you guys have any questions, we have had Dominic here for about 40 minutes. If there's anything else that he wants to clear up, he can. But if there's any quick questions that you guys have in the comments, put a Q first for question. We'll take a couple. And then if he wants to expound.
So, Auntie, to be very clear, I don't know exactly what was shown to the jury. Ron said it was, but I have no proof or evidence it was. I don't know which video they're referring to, and if that video is different than what they're talking about right now. I don't know, because I haven't seen the transcripts. But what I do know is, if there is a video that in any way showed Karmelo in a better light, the defense absolutely would have been pushing to show that video. So again, I don't know how many videos were even a part of it.
On anything else, but in the meantime, if you guys put in your questions, I kind of cut him off when he was saying that he's gonna start with the first 10,000, and I'm sorry because I'm one of those people that when something pops in my mind, I'm like, let me ask before I forget. But let's take it back to the 10,000 that you're going to start with. So when they got this first attorney, your organization started with a 10,000 donation, and you're saying that you're going to help his next appellate attorney with a $10,000 donation. Is that what you're saying?
Our organization helped raise more than $600,000 for the org. And in the beginning case, I couldn't even, because I'm not the organization's, financial person, but it was way more than 10,000 of what we got given through the beginning process. I don't know what the final count is or whatever, because I don't even know, because we paid for experts, we paid for security, there was multiple different expenditures.
But Ron, how do you know what videos were played to the jury and which videos were not? That's what I'm trying to find out. How do you know?
And stuff like that. But starting off this appellate process, the main focus was that we are going to make the first seed into this appeals process.
All right. All right. So I'm going to take a couple questions. One person said, can they bring charges to those kids who lied on the stand?
Yes, they can. Perjury. Because, many things that they said, I just knew that they were coerced, they were lying. They can, but is that likely in that county? Just ask Neat, do she think that's likely in that county? You know what I mean?
No, I think that they got the narrative that they want, and they're not going to, like, why would they arrest the people that to me, it seemed like the prosecution coached the kids because they were like hitting buzzwords that you can tell. And then at one point, the prosecutor.
I mean, once there's a prosecutor, like the prosecutor is only supposed to file charges if they think the case is a good case. So once they're even there, like they're trying to get a conviction. Like that's what their goal is. And any prosecutor, that's what they're going to do in any case.
Was like he asked one boy, he was like, well, you the one said provoke first, right? We didn't tell you that word, but he asked none of the other kids that. So that made me.
So the next question is, Ron, where is that video now? Can we see it? How do you know that video was legit? Like, where is it? What channel did you see it on? Who shared it on social media?
I think, okay, maybe one kid probably used that phrase, but everybody else, you drilled that into them. That's just what I thought. That's just what I came to. But I don't think that they're going to do that. Like, why would they do that? Like, that they needed them to do that in order for them to get a win.
And so, Ron, how do you know that's the same video they're referring to?
This has been floating around social media as well. Someone says, do you think he's safe where he's at? Because it's being said Metcalf's family member is the warden.
We were able to verify that. I automatically contacted State Senator Royce West, who is the 23rd Senatorial District here in the state of Texas. The Metcalf individual that they're talking about is at the Bird unit. Karmelo is at the PAC unit.
So if there's only one video, and that one video doesn't show anyone getting jumped or anything, it means the other people talking about it are just straight up lying. If there's only one video. But again, I have to see it all for myself to truly know. But if there's only one video, that's what it makes it seem like.
It was being reported that he was going to the Bird unit, and that is false. Karmelo is at the PAC unit, and the Bird individual that is the wording that's last name is Metcalf, is at the Bird unit.
Is it closely related though? Like, is he able to have access to the other jail, or
No, it's not. They're in Huntsville. I believe I don't believe the PAC unit is in Huntsville. It's in one of those. And don't give me the quote in these cities, because these are not the most populous cities, right? You know what I mean? I don't know the exact city where the PAC unit is, but it's not in Huntsville. Bird is in Huntsville, and so that to answer your question, no.
All right. So we have two questions back to back. One person said, have y'all talked to Mello? Another person said, can he please speak on Karmelo's headspace?
We have talked with Karmelo. He's been told to keep his head up. He's been told that a community and people from across this country is standing with him. But as to his headspace currently right now, it's really hard for me to speak to that. I know I sent a message to him that I love him and keep that prayer. You know what I mean? Like,
what do we have here, Sweet Caroline? And flock of black sheep? Ah, a wonderful super chat. None of us get away with ambiguous answers here, do we, Sir Shadow? No, Shadow and I says we must just make sure we have our I's dotted and our T's crossed. because we know if we say things that are incorrect, the comment sections, once the video is over, they will get me. So when people say things, I just try to get to the bottom of where they are, how they know, where they find it. And it's like the investigative work. But Sweet Caroline knows it, as do the rest of the flock of black sheep. And as always, we always appreciate the support. Helps Shadow get his soy-free hootie snacks because he's very hormone conscious after all.
That's pretty much it, you know. But I can't speak to his headspace right now. I know he's distraught by this situation, but I can't speak to it. But I can tell you, this is a resilient young man. This is a person who is very knowledgeable and was able to, at least through this year, prepare for yet the worst, but hope for the best. And Karmelo is going to continue to be covered, and his family is continuing to make sure that they keep in high communications with him.
All right. Another person says, why didn't they have a character witness?
All I can tell people, listen, let me say this quick. With everybody regarding this case, there were character witnesses on the witness list. There was experts on the witness list. There was people, eyewitnesses on the witness list. Neek can answer this question again. I'm sorry, Neek, to kind of be footballing it to you, but you know, you the person that I saw every day going in and out the court. They weren't called. They were on the list. I can't answer that.
Again, I don't know what his attorney was doing, but even the people they did call didn't seem like the best witnesses for the defense. So I don't know what the heck their strategy was. I don't know if they just didn't have much to work with. But if there was truly people they could have called, maybe he just did a poor job. I mean, that's possible too. But also, again, at the same time, they had an uphill battle anyway.
I'm not I want people to understand, as an advocacy org, we got the same questions as you know what I'm saying? We have the same questions. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when the family asked me earlier, do you feel like it's wise for us to tell what we need to say and tell the truth? Yeah, hell yeah. Like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I don't know.
I kind of get the sense, though, if we were to ask the defense attorney, well, why wasn't there a character witness? It sounds like they'll have an answer. And it might not be an answer these two would like, but chances are they have an answer.
I know they were on the list. They were, you know, they were waiting. I know that we had a forensic expert that was on the witness list. Nick, was he called? We know a psychologist was there.
I was baffled because I was like, I said, did the judge not allow any experts? Like, that's what I was waiting on, like an expert to really turn it around, because the lawyer wasn't discrediting the witness. Because I'm like, you can tell they're lying. I know they're lying, but he's not like bringing it around to self-defense. It always ends on, he provoked. Was it self-defense? No. And I was waiting on Mike Howard to bring it back to, you know, the difference between a peer giving you authority.
And this is the annoying part that Sir Shadow is disappointed in. The judge should have let cameras in this courtroom, especially in a case like this where people can start jumping to conclusions and things. No, let cameras in the courtroom so you can see and hear with your own eyes and your own ears everything that's going on. I would have liked that. And that would have been good for everybody. There's less chance for tomfoolery when the judge allows that. But instead, it seems like the judge was thinking, no, I don't want this to be a circus. I don't want people breaking down the testimonies, the cross examinations, the closing statements. And it's like, all right, whatever. But you should have. You should have, because now what you've done is you've given a lot of gray area. You've given a lot of there's doubt now because people don't know. If they saw it and they heard it, much less room for doubt. That's why Shadow and I would have been all for those cameras in the courtroom.
And the difference between a coach giving you authority and, you know, like swinging those things back around, and it never came around. So I was like, well, we didn't get to see the motions. Maybe the judge blocked the experts. I'm not sure, but it just was baffling that not a single expert testified.
Listen, I'm pulling up the email from everything that was at least shared with us on what was supposed to be done. That was expenses from our organization, jury consultant, jury mapping, a neuropathologist, a forensic pathologist. I know they were paid for. As to whether they were used, like not the attorney.
All right. I think he already answered how to donate. They have to get an attorney first.
So it seems like this guy is creating more doubt that the attorney did a good job than the actual attorney created doubt that Karmelo was guilty. Think about that. That's what it sounds like to me.
And then they have to set up the fundraiser. Someone says, is Karmelo safe and can we send him money in jail?
Yes, you can. I told someone earlier because they had maxed out the fund at Collin County, and I told them that it was probably best to do that when he get into the TDCJ system. And so with that being said, I don't know if this is, sometimes in the state of Texas, you will go from one transfer unit to another one. I don't know if this is going to be his permanent transfer unit for the time, but as soon as he appears inside of the TDCJ system and they process him, you can donate directly to him. But
and here's another true statement though too. If this was just two black people, this wouldn't be a case either. Right? If this was two black people, a black person killing another black person, you would never even hear it. And the person who got sent to jail, it wouldn't be a public case at all. It's only a public case because, especially of the races, that's really it. It doesn't meet the criteria of a Michael McKee double homicide with Spencer and Monique Tepe, or a Brian Hooker presumed homicide of Lynette Hooker, or a Nancy Guthrie disappearance. Or even, a D4VD, considering he was popular. Of course that's going to be popular. Because what's going on in that case, I actually haven't paid attention to it recently. But if this was two black people, it just wouldn't have been a thing.
As I was told, he has not been fully booked into that system yet.
Okay. Somebody said, why didn't the defense bring up the Metcalf brothers were suspended a week prior and that Karmelo was in the tent a week prior? I can't answer the first question. I guess we can answer that or not. I don't know. But I do know that they did mention him being in the tent 10 days prior, and they showed footage. They showed pictures of Eddie and Karmelo sitting on the bench together at the prior track meet as well. As far as why didn't the defense bring up the Metcalf brothers were suspended, you have to put the Metcalf brother on the stand, and when he's on the stand, the information would have to come out through him. They can't just blurt out information about Hunter without Hunter being on the stand. Now, I don't think that they put Hunter on because all of the other kids were lying. I think it was a gamble for him to get up there and, do a whole performance and break down and everything like that. But I'll ask Dominique what does he think about it?
Hey, I echo the same words that you echoed. Like, I think it was a risk. It was very clear and obvious that Hunter Metcalf was not seen at the Collin County Courthouse until the press conference afterwards. I remember somebody saying, it seems like Hunter was able to find the courthouse because he wasn't there throughout the trial. He wasn't seen in we were able to see the dad and the mother, and they were walking in and out. We didn't see Hunter. All I can say is that I don't know why. I don't know. And to even go matters worse is that we were also told that Hunter Metcalf was also in alternative school at that time and wasn't even supposed to be at that track meet. Was that explored? I don't know, but I don't know why they didn't call him to the stand or whatever it may be. But Nick is right that they have to be called to the stand in order to be crossed on that and ask that question. A lawyer cannot just openly testify in court. You know what I mean? And they can't lead in court, even though we know Bill Worski was leading the hell out them when you know what I mean? But that's normally the procedures of a court.
Okay. Did you want to take any more questions, or how you feeling?
No, I can take one more.
Okay. We'll take one more. We'll do a video question instead. The first person to hit the link will get through. If you are trolling, I'm gonna immediately cut you off and go to like an actual question. So the next one will be video. It will be somebody who clicks the link and do audio. Click the link fast. It's a StreamYard link in the chat. And then we will go from there. And if you guys are wanting to continue the Karmelo Anthony conversation after we finish with Dominique Alexander, we can have an after show afterwards. So LG, after we finish with Dominique Alexander, we can have an after show.
He's an amateur. Doing the right's got to get his headphones in. Get your headphones in because you're going to hear the thing coming out the speaker.
Afterwards. So elevation after Dominique Alexander.
Oh yeah, let me turn that off. Got you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I cannot hear you. I can't hear anything.
All right,
you guys
go
hear me?
out and come back in. Dominique, tell him to go out.
I can't hear nothing.
Go out and come back in. Drop and come back.
Oh, okay.
What he needs is probably headphones because like there's audio and then there's your like the thing that you hear, audio input, audio output. So he just doesn't know how to do it.
Or dang. Sometimes they can hear you, but not me.
They can.
I don't know what that's about. Let's hear from the Island Boy.
Oh, wow. Didn't expect to get in because I saw some people beat me to it. I guess just a question about the case itself with Anthony and his appeal and everything, like with his defense. Are they planning, do you know if they're planning on going the route of, I think what's called malpractice or something, like when the defense attorney didn't do a good job? Are they planning on going that route with the appeal?
Ineffective counsel?
Yes.
Ineffective counsel. I can tell you that is one of the hardest angles to prove, right? All I can say is that during an appeals process, it is based off the review of the court's transcript, right? And what was brought on at an objection, and that appeals attorney is going to go and file an appeal on whatever is discovered and what was objected into court, right? As to what the family would do regarding their attorney, I think it's inappropriate for me to comment on that. For me to, because that's a personal decision for them that I can't lead them before they even told the world or the public what they're going to do with their appeal. So I can't speak for them. But thanks for the question, though.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We have another. I don't know if you want to take it, but
And Ron, I did hear that too. I did hear Austin Metcalf's dad wanted things released. And to which, yeah, I mean, whatever's out there, release it so there's less questions. That's what I would say.
it's up to you.
Come on.
Pittsburgh MC and the people who are on video get priority.
But we also,
just so you guys know.
But we also know this: if there is a video, 2 people can watch the video, and then they can come away with 2 completely different interpretations of a video. That happens too.
I was wondering, could this case go federal because of they tampering with the jury evidence and stuff?
I don't think so. This is a state case, and this wasn't a federal case, so it can't go federal. It will stay state. But what can happen is that you can appeal this case all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. You know what I mean?
If they paid off the jurors and stuff, could the case go federal?
No, I don't think. I don't think so. No, sir.
All right. I appreciate you, man.
I don't think there's any case for it to go federal. Federal government takes specific cases, maybe involving government officials, things like that. But outside of that, I don't know what the guidelines are for being charged federally. Crossing state lines with things, perhaps? I don't know.
Appreciate the security, appreciate everything you did for the family, man. I'm rocking with you, man. No matter what nobody said about you, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
All right, salute.
All right, thank you. All right, there's other people back here, but LJ was the one who made it through first. LJ, I was leaving it open for you to be just like one more. If you could click the link really quickly and we can get your question. Try to get you real quick if you could click the link. But people on video get priority because I can kind of discern if you're a troll, you'll be seen type of thing. But I'm trying to give LJ a quick chance to come through, but it looks like maybe, I don't know if he's having technical difficulties. I'll give him 5 seconds. If he doesn't come up, then we will cut it unless Dominique wants to answer any more questions. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so LJ, I don't know, maybe he's having technical difficulties. He didn't click the link again. There's other people backstage. They're not on camera. It's up to you, Dominique, if you want to end it here or...
Yeah. Well, other than that, I saw somebody in the chat or whatever that was asking, was this my first high-profile case? No. I had the case of Crystal Mason, Desiree Becton, Botham John, Tatiana Jefferson, and a number of cases that has been, high profile throughout this area. And so, no, that's not our first high profile case. Just to answer someone's question that was actually in the chat. But thank you so much, Neek, for reaching out to me. I want to thank everybody for y'all questions. You know what I mean? I know it's easy to, hear clickbait stuff and then you run with it and it goes. And I try to keep up with as much to make sure that I'm transparent in this process. But we got work to do. And we all will collectively do it together. And I want to thank you, Neek, for using your platform to keep our communities informed, engaged in this process, because we know that we don't have a...
What do we have here from Sweet Caroline and the Flock of Black Sheep? Gossip and assumptions fill the gaps that facts leave empty. That's exactly right, Sweet Caroline. Shadow says he couldn't have said it better himself. That's why I'm for all of the releasing of any videos, any evidence they have. That's why I'm also for courtrooms to have cameras. Film it. Because for that very reason, what people don't see and hear will be filled with gossip and assumptions. Absolutely right. Also with speculation as well. So, yeah, clear the air. Clear the air. Let us see it all. That's what I would say. So I totally agree, Sweet Caroline. And thank you very much for that, Sweet Caroline in chat. Always appreciated. Let's see.
A lot of dependable sources in the media, and it's imperative that we have people who answer the call like you to be able to make sure that people are informed on what is going on. So I salute you, my sister, and anytime, anything I can ever do for you, I'm always one call away.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on. And if you want to come back, if you have any more information on how we can donate to the family, how we can support the family, I will appreciate you so much. And we'll call it like that. I think the people who are backstage, I know there are so many of you who want to talk. What I can do for those of you, once I end this live with Dominique, we can all start a panel and I will bring all of you guys up. I don't want to hold Dominique for any longer, but I know there's so many of you guys who are backstage that want to talk, want to ask questions. I'm going to end the live with Dominique. I'm going to start a new live, and then I'm going to bring all of you guys up when you click the new live. You guys get it? Shake your head. Y'all get it? LC, you understand? Nikki? Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Dominique. And all of you guys on live, we're going to refresh the page. We'll come right back.
All right. So that's Neek at Night. That's Dominique Alexander. That's the person that was advising the family. And yeah, I mean, Shadow and I, we want to see all the information. If there's anything that points in another direction, yeah, I'd want to see it. As it is right now, I haven't heard anything that makes me think of something different. Dana gifted the Wizard of Radical Self-Respect memberships to the chat. So let's see who the Lords of YouTube Random decide get this, because how it'll work, whoever gets it will get access to the members-only live streams. They are Q&As and chill-and-As. We have a grand old time in them. So thank you very much for that, Dana. Shadow appreciates it too. Bless your beautiful heart, Jackie. I love you guys too. Well, Shadow and I love you all as well. And I'm glad we were able to get through an emotionally charged topic. And we're all still here in one piece. How about that? I'm afraid to look at my Facebook because I somehow have a feeling there's going to be a lot of rantings and ravings on my page. But that comes with the territory. You get used to it. And sometimes it's better to just not even read it sometimes. Also, Facebook has given me a gift in a way because I can't always see the comments that reply to me. So it stops me from getting into debates. Sometimes they say, the Lord will do for you what you can't do for yourself. And I think sometimes that's true. Have a great night, Tim. So Tim, Dana, Sweet Caroline, Nanny Goat. Who else in here? Snoop, Ron, Jackie, Ospie. Welcome to Ospie, by the way. Haven't seen him or her here before. Mara, welcome to you as well. Michelle, if you're still here, have a great night too. Nanny Goat. That's right. Nanny Goat, have a great night. Paula, have a great night. Julie Bug, have a great night. Danielle, have a great night. Bethany, have a great night as well. Anyone else I'm forgetting? Phil Bradley, I saw him earlier. D was here. Have a great night, D. I guess that's it for now. Thanks for joining me on the late night stream here. Being very flexible. Shadow and I appreciate it. And with that, over and out, folks. And Autumn! Don't want to forget Autumn. Shadow and I love you too. Love you as well, Jackie and Paula and Michelle, Texas Michelle. Have a great night, guys. We appreciate all the support.